Power is not found in the words spoken, but in the silence that follows them. Most men believe that to influence a situation, they must act. They believe that to maintain a connection, they must provide. They believe that to be remembered, they must be present. But the psychological reality of human interaction is governed by a different set of laws. Laws rooted in scarcity, pattern recognition, and the internal mechanics of the ego. When you decide to stop reaching out, you are not merely ignoring someone. You are initiating a profound shift in the emotional and neurological equilibrium of the relationship. This is the breakdown of the silence and the mechanics of why it works. It begins with the man's internal discipline. The moment you choose to stop the flow of communication, you enter a state of withdrawal. Your brain is accustomed to the dopamine loop of sending a message and receiving a response. This loop creates a sense of safety and control. When you break it, the first thing you encounter is discomfort. This discomfort is the primary reason most men fail. They mistake their own anxiety for a sign that they are losing the woman. In reality, that anxiety is simply your brain reacting to a broken habit. You feel the urge to check your phone. You feel the urge to see if she has posted something. You feel the urge to send a "just checking in" text to alleviate the tension. This is the test of sovereignty. If you cannot master the silence within yourself, you will never master the dynamic between you and her. You must understand that your presence has become a commodity that is oversupplied. In any market, when supply exceeds demand, the value of the asset drops. By constantly reaching out, you have flooded the market with your attention. You have made yourself predictable, and predictability is the death of desire. Desire requires a gap. It requires a space between what is known and what is unknown. When you provide constant access, you remove the gap. You remove the need for her to lean forward. You have effectively become a background noise in her life. Reliable, consistent, but ultimately ignored. The shift begins when the noise stops. At first, the silence is not noticed by her. She is still operating under the assumption of your availability. She assumes that your absence is temporary, a minor glitch in the matrix of her day. She goes about her routine, secure in the knowledge that you are only a text away. But as the days progress, the silence begins to acquire a weight. This is due to the brain's inherent need for pattern completion. The human mind is a prediction engine. It maps out the future based on the repetitions of the past. If you have always been the one to initiate, your initiation is a data point she relies on to feel secure in her position of power. When that data point is removed, the engine begins to misfire. This is the first phase of her internal shift, the interruption of the expected. She starts to notice the void. It is not an emotional void yet, it is a cognitive one. She notices that a specific stimulus, your message, is missing from her environment. This triggers a heightened state of awareness. She begins to look for the reason behind the change. In her mind, she starts to construct scenarios. Is he busy? Is he seeing someone else? Is he upset? These questions are the first seeds of investment. You must understand that whoever is thinking more about the other person is the one with less power in that moment. By stopping your outreach, you have forced her brain to dedicate cycles to processing your existence. Before, you were the one doing the thinking. Now, the burden of thought has shifted to her. This is where the Zeigarnik effect comes into play. The Zeigarnik effect is a psychological phenomenon where people remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. Your previous interactions were completed because you were always there to close the loop. Now, the loop is open. The relationship is an unfinished story in her mind. This creates a state of tension that can only be resolved by communication. However, if you are the one to break the silence, you resolve the tension for her. You close the loop and return the power to her. But if you remain silent, the tension builds. It moves from her logical mind to her emotional center. She begins to feel the loss of access. Access is the ultimate currency in attraction. When a woman knows she has access to a man, she feels no urgency. When that access is revoked without explanation, it creates a sense of scarcity that redefines your value. She begins to look back at your past interactions through a different lens. She starts to value the attention she once took for granted because it is no longer being handed to her for free. This is the transition from curiosity to emotional reaction. She may feel a sting to her ego. The ego thrives on validation, and your constant outreach was a form of passive validation that she used to maintain her self-image. Without it, she feels a slight instability. She wonders why she is no longer enough to keep you reaching out. This ego trigger is often what prompts the first reach out from her side. It is not always a reach out born of love. It is often a reach out born of a need to reclaim her sense of certainty. She wants to know if the door is still open. She wants to know if she still has the power to pull you back. This is the critical juncture. If you respond too eagerly, you confirm that the power dynamic hasn't actually changed. You show her that you were just playing a game, and the moment she whistled, you came running. But if you maintain your composure, if you remain centered and less invested than she is, the shift becomes permanent. You have demonstrated that you are a man who is capable of walking away. You have shown that your life does not revolve around her response. This is the essence of high-value behavior, the ability to exist in the silence without breaking. You are no longer a seeker of validation, you are a source of it. And by withholding it, you make it the most sought-after prize in her world. This process requires a level of stoicism that most men never develop. It requires you to look at the relationship not as a series of emotional exchanges, but as a structural dynamic of power and respect. You must realize that silence is a mirror. When you stop reaching out, you hold that mirror up to her. If she has high interest, the silence will compel her to move toward you. If she has low interest, the silence will reveal that there was nothing there to begin with. In either case, you gain the truth. And the truth is, the only foundation upon which a real power dynamic can be built. You are moving from a position of trying to get to a position of allowing to happen. This is the ultimate expression of control. You are controlling the only thing you truly can, your own actions and your own availability. As the silence deepens, the woman's mind enters a state of reevaluation. She begins to associate you with the qualities of independence and strength. A man who can endure the silence is a man who is not governed by his impulses. He is a man who has internal resources. This perception is inherently attractive because it suggests that you are not dependent on her for your happiness. And in the world of attraction, dependency is the ultimate repellent. The more you show you don't need her, the more she will feel the urge to be needed by you. This is the paradox of the no-contact rule and the mechanics of silence. It is a tool for self-mastery as much as it is a tool for relationship management. By the time the process is complete, the roles have reversed. You are no longer waiting for her. She is waiting for you. You are no longer wondering what she is doing. She is wondering what you are doing. The power has shifted because the investment has shifted. You have moved from a state of pursuit to a state of being pursued. This is the natural result of understanding the psychological mechanics of absence. It is not about being cold or cruel. It is about being a man of substance who knows his worth and refuses to overinvest in someone who is not matching his energy. The silence is your greatest ally. It does the work that words never could. It builds mystery. It creates value. And it establishes a foundation of respect that is necessary for any long-term dynamic. Stay in the silence, master the discomfort, and watch as the world reacts to the man who finally knows how to be still.